Hey everyone, and welcome to Comics from the Multiverse, the DC Comics podcast from Mail Fuzz TV. I am Peter, and joining me as always is not Matt, unfortunately.
God damn it. I thought you'd forgotten. You had, hadn't you?
No. So, Matt's not here. He's actually been dragged to Disneyland this weekend.
Dragged.
I
like
say dragged.
like he's annoyed at it.
I mean, he's probably not, but he had to miss 2 weeks in a row, which does suck. But he'll be back next week, not to fear. And he'll be back actually in a couple days for our Shazam movie review, so you can look forward to that.
Which I may or may not still be able to make.
Yes, well, I have seen it already. I will not comment on it because we're not talking about it on this episode, but it has been seen.
Yeah. Just for the audio people, that'll probably go into the playlist as usual, right?
Yeah, the DC movie reviews always go into the feed with these, yeah.
Oh yeah, but it's been a while, a few months. People may not be aware.
Yes. Speaking of, the Justice League versus Fatal 5 review will happen at some point. We just didn't have time to fit it in yet, so we'll do it. Me and Conrad will do it.
Yeah, sometime in a few weeks.
Yeah. So this has the potential to be the shortest episode of this show that we have ever done.
Because there's only two of us. Naturally, when there's two of us versus three, there's just less talking.
Yeah, it doesn't quite take off a third of the runtime, but theoretically, with the exact same number of books, it might take off about a quarter. It might take off about 25%.
Yeah.
On top of that, we have a total of 4 new comics to talk about this week, only one of which both of us read.
There's just no books.
We are doing one of our punishment issues. I'll tell you what's coming up in the show. Let's start with that, actually, before I get to explaining things. So coming up on this week's show, we have Justice League issue 21, we have Young Justice issue 4, The Green Lantern number 6, and Adventures of the Super Sons number 9. That is it. Batman got pushed a week, so it's not out, even though it usually is.
Because that's just what we needed, right? Yeah, let's make week 2 busier.
So no Batman. Punishment issues, Patreon, I'll explain that more when we get to them, but we will do one of those. We're going to do Nightwing 54, both me and Connor read that, so the second book we'll both be able to talk about together this week will be Nightwing 54, featuring Rick Grayson.
It's a travesty, isn't it?
Just want to point that out there. So that is the plan in terms of books. I did ask on Twitter for questions, we got a couple, not as many as usual though. I don't know what's happening, everyone's asleep this week I think.
The Twitters be slacking.
They're slacking this week indeed. I just made everything disappear for a second because I hovered over something in my taskbar. I apologise, video folk. Alright.
Disgraceful.
Yeah. And there's like a teensy bit of news, and I do mean teensy. Teensy weensy.
Yeah, I couldn't have given us solicits this week. Just go, hey, have them early.
That would have helped fill out a bit of show, wouldn't it? So in terms of news, yeah, we'll just quickly knock that out. Maybe ramble for a bit before we get to books, because why not?
Don't talk about anything else we've been reading, because if there is anything, I don't know.
Well, we've got another show for that.
Well, yeah, I mean,
it's called Elsewhere in the Multiverse.
Have you been reading anything that's not contemporary?
Not really, no.
Oh, okay.
Ain't had time, damn it.
So that's fair.
Yeah, so a couple of delays. I know everyone's going to be shocked at this first one, but just brace yourselves. I want you to buckle in, strap in, and brace yourselves, because Doomsday Clock issue 10 has been pushed back another week, and is now releasing on the 8th of May. Actually, I think it was 2 weks this time, but it doesn't matter.
It's the 8th of May.
It's the 8th of May now. Who cares? It's been pushed like 4 times.
For
now. I expect it will be the 8th of May or maybe one more week, just because that'll be 2 months after the last issue.
I will honestly be shocked if it hits the 8th of May.
That's fair. That's fair. What's funny though is that issue 11 is still technically scheduled for May 22nd.
Yeah, you ain't seen that till at least July.
Yeah, that's going to be July, and then the final issue.
Maybe even August. Let's be honest.
It depends. It depends when 10 hits. If 10 still makes the first half of May, then it will be July.
Yeah, it might be late July, but it should make July.
Yeah. I think my prediction was still end of September, early October for the final issue.
I'm sure you just said September, because I said October.
Yeah, but it's shifting.
Or did I say November?
It's shifting as we go. Maybe you said November. I feel like at one point you were saying you'll be lucky if it's out at the end of the year.
That's when if I'm in a really cynical mood.
You were being especially cynical when you said that.
I'll be honest. If it did go, do you know what? It's not going to be out this year. I wouldn't be surprised.
No, it'll be September, October. I think. No, because you said November, because you said it was going to be a clean 2 years. That's why you said November.
Yeah, it could still happen. Give it time.
Yeah. Speaking of delays, though, this is another John's delay, which is interesting. Shazam issue 5 has been pushed back 3 weeks, and that'll also come out on May 8th. Which, by the way, May 8th is week 2 of that month, meaning week 2 of May is looking pretty beefy now. Yes, Shazam issue 6 remains scheduled for May 15th, and 6 following on June 19th. I feel like those are both going to get pushed back.
Yeah, this happened. After the first issue, we got a delay, and then they had to just not solicit for a month.
Yeah, I feel like there'll be no solicit next month or this month, and then those two will just both bump back.
Knock back, yeah.
You know, it is what it is, but
yeah, it feels consistent with John's at the minute, though, doesn't it?
I guess he's just busy with things. I mean, at least this is a monthly book, which is occasionally missing a month, as opposed to a bi-monthly book, which is occasionally taking 3 months.
Well, I mean, that started off as a monthly book.
Well, it did. I was being really optimistic at the time.
It was.
Really optimistic. I almost wish they didn't start releasing it until like at least 6 months later. Just like keep doing the work, bank up some.
Yeah.
And then start releasing it monthly. But hey ho, why would they do that? That's just the logical thing to do. And then the other thing I just wanted to point out is that Tom Taylor's been has been revealing some variant covers for Deceased, which I just wanted to mention because I thought they were pretty cool. If you remember, one of the teaser images we got when it was first announced was the It poster, Stephen King's It, but with Robin and Joker. There's now a Poison Ivy one, which is Nightmare on Elm Street's poster, where she's in the bed like Nancy, and you've got Batman who's like all demonic with claws, like being the Freddy Krueger. Really cool. And there's another one with Superman, which is actually the poster from The Nun, which does upset me a little bit because The Nun's a terrible movie, but it does make for a nice cover. So
you'll allow it.
Yeah. So and apparently there's going to be more. That's
cool. And these aren't retailer exclusive ones, because there are retailer exclusive variants.
They are. Now these ones are the ones you can get at any shop. This is Yasmin Putri's doing these movie poster covers.
Yeah.
So
look good.
They do look good. It's fun. So yeah, that was basically it in news.
I've got one other thing.
I'm gonna go.
There have been some changes to Batman 70.
Oh yeah, you told me about this.
Yeah, because it was a bit of a, every so often we'll get, solicitors will change, cover will change here or there. Just done both of those. So this is 70. Get out of here with the damn skills. God, awful product placement. So issue 70 was obviously it's the first issue after Nightmares. It was originally going to be about Batman dealing with Flashpoint Batman when we get our Nightmares. Apparently that's gone now. It's not doing that anymore. Now it's going to be about him locked in Arkham Asylum with all his enemies, and he has to fight to get out. It's all for the amusement of Bane. It's setting up the Bane event, which is starting in 75. Did we talk about that last week?
We talked about that last week. I don't think we talked about it last week, but we've known it's been coming for a while, have we not?
Yeah. Did we got to get a title for it recently?
Yeah, it's City of Bane.
City of Bane. Yeah. So that's starting in 75, and this is now built. The arc's title hasn't changed. It's still the Fall and the Fallen.
I honestly wonder if they just push whatever they're going to do with the Flashpoint and Batman stuff till after the Bane arc, or maybe because I wonder if it's just a rejigging of where it comes, or how maybe he's decided to integrate it into the main Bane arc.
It's a little bit
or something. I don't know.
Weird, given that obviously the last thing before Nightmares started was Flashpoint Batman showing up, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that was where we left off. So coming back to we're dealing with that made sense.
We're still going to deal with it at some point, but it's just clearly there's changes happening, maybe more last minute than you'd like to see. What's interesting, there was some scuttlebutt this week that the reason why Batman and the Outsider was delayed was for continuity reasons. It wasn't because the team was like.
Maybe it's because, hey, do you know what? We're bringing back Nightwing, and you can have Dick if you just wait.
That's wishful thinking. I honestly think it's because they want everything to tie into this Year of the Villain thing they're doing a little bit.
Possibly, yeah.
I wonder if the continuity of whatever sets that up or whatever's going on with that, ripples out into the DCU, and that's why they had to like line up Batman and the Outsiders with that, and then maybe they had to line up.
Do we know when that's actually starting now?
Year of the Villain?
No, Batman and the Outsiders.
Yeah, they've been resolicited, so I think.
Yeah. I'm just.
It's May, I think.
May. Okay, so I wonder if it's to do with the Heroes in Crisis.
Could be.
I mean, for continuity reasons, I wonder if that's got something to do with it.
It very well could be. I was just thinking Year of the Villain because that's kind of kicking off with Leviathan event.
Yeah,
Leviathan
it's kind of kicking off with the Free Comic Book Day thing, right?
Yeah,
which is early May.
Yeah, actually, just one thing I wanted to mention that Didio said, because even though WonderCon was last weekend, like, and there was some interesting little tidbits here or there from panels, but there was no actual like announcements. Like,
yeah, a little bit disappointing.
But one of the interesting things that I did really like is that Didio said that the Fraction Jimmy Olsen book was going to have a similar tone to his Hawkeye, which pleases me greatly.
When you say was going to have a similar tone, do you mean is?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, well, you said was going to have a similar tone, like past tense, like it was going to have that, but we went in a different direction.
No, he said it. I was as in he said it already, as in he said it in the past tense.
Okay, that's not how you quoted it, but fine.
Whatever, it's fine. You're being pedantic. Look, this excites me. That was a very good book. I have not liked anything else by Matter Fraction that I have tried, but I really liked his Hawkeye. So
I've liked a few of his things. I did like his Hawkeye. That was one of those books that the delays really hurt. Made me lose interest.
I finished it.
I never did because it was very. There were very quick reads. You got like small. It felt like a real small dose. Don't get me wrong, they were good, but the delays I felt really. Whereas compared to obviously we just been talking about Doomsday Clock's delays. Those issues are so dense that even when I'm going 3 months without them, I'm still feeling like I'm getting a full meal out of each issue. Whereas when I was reading Hawkeye, I was like, yeah, this is a nice little bite. Monthly, I'll be fine. But it wasn't, and it wasn't enough for me at the time. I'm sure I could reread it now and enjoy it.
You should. No, read it. It's like 25 issues or something like that. Just read the whole thing. Goes in a treat. They did that weird thing where it was alternating in the teens between Clint and Kate because they had like their own things going on. So it kind of went back and forth. So at one point, it was like issue 16 came out before 15, but it didn't matter story wise because it was 14 and 16 were Kate issues, so they got away with it. It was bizarre.
That would be as you was doing the Clint issues then.
Yes, most lately. So yeah, I guess that's the news. That's a couple of things I wanted to mention more than anything.
It's been a quiet week.
It's been, quiet week for books coming out, quiet weeks for chatter. At least from what I've seen, I've not seen anything on Twitter that's lit everyone up.
No,
there's been some movie things like Idris Elba is still going to be in Suicide Squad 2, but he's no longer replacing Will Smith as Deadshot. He's going to play a new character, and we're just not going to have Deadshot, which is better. But it's weird that they announced that he was, and then
it was weird. Yeah,
they've changed it. This is bizarre.
We got a teaser trailer for Joker.
That is true. We did get a trailer for Joker. And it looks like a good movie. Like, does it look a good Joker story? I don't know. I can't say that. But it looks like a good movie about a psychopath.
It does. It looks like a really good movie, but it's a bit definitive for my liking.
It has to be.
It does.
If you're doing a Joker movie, it has to be. Unless you do my idea. Unless you do my idea where it's just a horror movie where the Joker's still the villain, but there's just no Batman, right? So the idea that you're dealing with normal people having to survive a Joker encounter, and that's what your movie is.
There's another solution here. Keep Joaquin Phoenix. Just do another Joker movie in 2 years. Completely different origin story.
Oh sure, just keep basically do the Dark Knight thing where he kept making up his origin, but just do that and like
just do like 4 different. They're all Joker. They're all the Joker origin stories. Pick your favorite
and keep the title as well. Don't even change the title. It's just Joker again.
Yeah.
Yes, we love that. I feel like the movie studio would be terrified of putting out a movie with the exact same title, but with You know,
They
just
would.
a different
They would
story.
be terrified. It wouldn't happen. But I'd let them do Joker and the Joker.
The performance looks very good. This is one of these things where I feel like people were fan casting Joaquin Phoenix for Joker for a long time, but it's one of those fan castings that actually makes sense and would work out if they ever did it. And sure enough, here it is.
Yeah, and
because there is a lot of fan
frustrating
castings where I go, you're just picking them because they have the same beard or they have the same hair color, and I'm like,
or they're bald.
Or they're bald. Which, for the record, any time I ever said Bryan Cranston should play Lex Luthor, it was not because he was bald in Breaking Bad. It was the character and the performance in Breaking Bad.
I know, but you get like Lex Luthor when people are casting for that. 95% of the choices are just people who are already bald.
And it's like anyone
can shave their head.
They can shave their head. It's like the easiest thing to do.
Yeah.
Anyone can shave their head. It's so easy.
It's not a big ask.
It's so easy, but
look at the body transformation of Joaquin Phoenix. There's a movie you did last year where he's a bit bigger, and then here he's extremely skinny.
Yeah, his body language is very good. The way he talks, the way he laughs,
the tone is just
the tone. Honestly, the best thing I can say about this movie is that it doesn't feel like we have to fill a superhero quota so someone go make a movie with a character in it. This feels like a filmmaker with a vision, and it feels like he's making an unapologetic version of whatever that vision is. Whether I'll like it or not at the end remains to be seen, but I can't be mad that it exists in the sense that, no, this is an actual film. This is someone making a movie that has something to say.
What I think is a fair comparison is, Aquaman came out, got $1 billion, right? And they were like, quick, The Trench, make a movie.
Sure.
And I was like, there's no way anyone had an idea for this, and they were like, quick, just do anything, right? That was the studio, and I'm sure the studio was like, yes, give me please put out a Joker movie.
I don't even like that comparison because I think Aquaman feels just as hollow.
Sure, but I can at least see. I don't think they went, right, we need an Aquaman movie. We have to have it. I think someone went, Joe, okay, I can do an Aquaman movie. So, someone's got an Aquaman story in them.
Yeah, but
no one went to them and went, oh, let's do The Trench.
No, but Aquaman exists because they wanted a blockbuster. Sure. That movie feels the entire time like it's trying to prove that it's a blockbuster and is worthy of being a blockbuster. And it's overstuffed and it feels a bit hollow. It's not a bad movie. It scrapes to like a 6 out of 10.
Yeah.
It's fine.
No, I happen to agree. I think I give it the same score.
It's a bit soulless. It's a bit soulless, and I think this Joker movie, just from the trailer alone, I look at it and go, no, like Todd Phillips and Joaquin Phoenix both care about this movie. They're giving it their all.
It does not mean it will be good.
No, it doesn't.
It might not be. I mean, trailer looks good, but doesn't mean it'll be a good movie.
That's what I started. I started this whole thing by saying whether I like this at the end remains to be seen. But it's a movie. It's a vision. Say what you want about Tommy Wiseau's The Room. It's his. It is unapologetically his, and I respect that movie more than I do, Justice League. Because Justice League, even though it wasn't as bad as Batman v Superman, it just exists because they promised to make a Justice League movie to investors. That's the only reason why it exists.
Yeah.
And obviously, like, before people start commenting and saying, oh, but every movie's to make money. No, it is. That's why studios invest in them. But that doesn't mean that's why the director or the actors or the principal people involved get into movie making or why they want to make that specific movie.
Yeah, let's be honest. Sometimes sure, it's just a paycheck.
Yeah, but do you honestly buy that anything Christopher Nolan's done since, like... Well, I mean, his whole career feels pretty genuine to him, to be honest, but, like...
Do you think he got fortunate in that he got the ability to get a he got respected relatively early on.
Yeah, but his next movie, whatever it is, it's what Christopher Nolan wants to make.
Yes, because any studio will go, what do you want to do? Sure, here's the money.
Except they can't because Warner Brothers have got him lock and key.
Yeah, well, it's just Warner Brothers going, what do you want to do, Chris? Oh, I'm thinking this. Honestly, here's a check. Just write out what you need.
It's an interesting conversation to have because I think Christopher Nolan is one of the few directors right now, maybe the only director, where they announced the release date for his next film, even though they're not announcing what it is yet. And that's fine for like Marvel and DC. Like, it's an unannounced DC film for this date.
To the brand.
Yeah, this is just Christopher Nolan's next film is coming out July 2020. I guess it's 2020, and it's like, okay. Sure.
Yeah.
we're all excited because Christopher Nolan's got enough cred to make it that way.
It's to the point where you get to a very mainstream audience.
Yeah.
And that will still, mean something to a lot of people. There are directors that film fans will be like excited just on the name of the director, sure. But a lot of the general public, that outside of, we're talking here about DC, Marvel movies, Star Wars movies, Disney movies. They've got names, recognizable things to them. Whereas if you go, this director's film's coming out in a year's time, most people will be like, okay then. Christopher Nolan's somehow gotten into the culture where most people seem to be on board with that just on his name alone.
Yeah, he's not quite the level of Spielberg or Hitchcock, but he might be. By the time he's dead, he might be.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah. I don't know how we got onto that. It was basically just talking about how Joker feels like a genuine film from someone who cares about it and has an idea. And that's the key thing. Someone had an idea and wanted to make it.
Do you know what someone didn't have a vision for by the look of the trailer that's coming up soon?
What?
Hellboy. That looked like the studio went, so we want that Del Toro movie, but we don't want to pay Del Toro. Can you just make it but cheaper?
But why would they want the Del Toro movie? The Del Toro movies didn't even make that much money.
No, I know, but
there's a reason why Hellboy 3 didn't happen.
I know, but clearly they wanted that movie still for some reason because that's what we're getting.
I don't know.
I'm prepared to eat my words if the movie actually turns out to be different, but based on everything I've seen so far.
Yeah, I'm not looking forward to that. And honestly, if I wasn't reviewing it, I'd skip it. If this wasn't an obvious thing that we have to review because Tim's going to have things to say.
Tim will insist, yeah. And I say that as someone who I like Hellboy 1. I really like Hellboy 2. It's not that it's a great Hellboy movie, but it's a really good Del Toro movie. It's full of just his style and fun, and I was really into it. So to do this, it looks like it's aiming for that, just without any of the skill behind the camera. So I don't know, not excited.
Yeah, what's weird about that is that the director of the new one's actually made at least one great movie.
Which movie?
The Descent.
Okay, I'm not seeing it, but sure.
So I don't know. That's what it is. Yeah. And somehow I managed to get through all that without comparing anything to Shazam, which it was very tempting to do so, and I may have done already on Twitter. But I am avoiding saying what I feel because that's a whole conversation in and of itself.
Yes, that will be coming early next week.
It's better than Aquaman. No, I'm just going to say that.
I'll be honest, I'm not surprised. Honestly, the real question is, it's not whether it's better or Aquaman, or there's only one question that matters. Is it the best movie in this DC universe? That's the only question that matters. Is it the best movie since Dark Knight Rises? That's it. That's the only thing that matters.
I think the answer is yes.
Okay. Because, let's be honest, the only real competition is Wonder Woman.
Wonder Woman arguably has a higher high.
Let down by its third act, though.
Shazam doesn't have the lows.
So what you're telling me, it doesn't have that trench scene.
No, it doesn't have the No Man's Land scene.
But it doesn't have the shitty third act.
No, it doesn't. No.
I'm looking forward to it. I am. I'm hoping to get to see it Monday during the day, so that's I can be on the review.
And apparently there's both a mid-credit scene and a post-credit scene. I never saw the post-credit scene. Apparently the post-credit scene was just a joke, so I'm not too mad. But
you wish you'd known anyway.
Yeah. I will see. There's some fun Easter eggs in there, but yes, I'll be talking to Matt at the very least, maybe Connor as well, about Shazam in the next couple of days, and that'll be up on the YouTubes and on the same podcast feed as this, as well as the Mail Fuzz Movies podcast feed, which if you don't know exists, there's a Mail Fuzz Movies feed where me and Carl talk about a bunch of movies. We actually just reviewed all the Batman movies over, I say all, the 80s, 90s and Nolan movies, those 7. Yeah. We reviewed those 7 over the past month.
So if you've enjoyed this last 15 minutes of us chatting bollocks about films, just head on over there.
This is what happens when DC only put out like 4 books in a week.
There's nothing.
I mean, there's some more, but I mean, we're not reading.
Like, a friend of mine who
Harley
is
Quinn
reading more still only has 6, and I'm like, Yeah, that you must be reading everything they're putting out this week.
It's a quiet week. It's a very quiet week.
Is.
So we'll start reading the books then. Well, not reading the books. We'll start talking about them.
Jesus Christ.
This is going to be a weird show if we just start reading them right now. But yeah, we'll start talking about Justice League issue 21, which of course is written by Scott Snyder with art by Jorge Jimenez, who may also be kind of co-writing that. It's unclear. It's kind of like that whole Patrick Gleason and Tomasi thing.
Yes, he's got a storytelling credit. So how much did you hate it, Pete? Because I read this and I'm quite into it. I'm not gonna lie, but that was to be expected. I finished it. I went, oh, I bet Pete hated that issue.
I don't hate it. Like this falls into the territory for me where it's kind of just a fun romp, but I have a hard time really taking this all that seriously.
Fair enough.
Because with Snyder, everything has to be the biggest threat ever that we've ever had. Shut up. Stop it. Stop it.
This isn't any bigger than what it has been for the last, 6 issues, though. Since that annual.
Oh, sure, not since then, but it's bigger than anything in the first part of the book. It's bigger than anything it did in Dark Knight Metal, even though that was the biggest thing ever at the time.
This is a really interesting companion and follow-up to Metal, actually, given the reveal in this.
Yeah.
And Pete doesn't remember Metal well enough to give a shit.
No, I mean, I know what you're talking about. The world full.
But I mean, let's be honest. Before we get to any of the big stuff,
mm-hmm.
It's the little thing that is the best in this book, isn't it?
Don't send a Starman for a Starfish's job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love the bit where he's like, makes a pitlick more like, dick on a stick plick. Dad'll love that one.
Yeah, Jarrow is not,
he's delightful.
Yeah, he's the best part of the book. I was going to say it. Jarrow's the best part of the book.
I agree, and I say that as someone who's really into all the other concept stuff that's going on.
My main problem with this issue, honestly, is that so we set up this whole thing, this utopia in the future, where we got the little Martian let Jean and Kendra know last time that everything's not as it seems. And I felt like they did nothing with the rest of the League finding out. They just come to the psychic meeting table, and they're just kind of told, and I don't know. It's just it's almost like they don't do anything with the actual like crushing revelation, or I don't know. It felt undercooked to me.
Fair enough.
From a dramatic standpoint with the characters, but sure enough, Evil, because they don't even have time to process it before, what turns out to be the World Forger, the Superman in white, shows up and is like, I've got you all held captive, and, I'm the World Forger, blah, 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 blah. Basically, you're all going to agree to go along with what I'm doing and imprison everyone who is not good, without any possibility of, redemption or anything. Just they're locked away.
Yeah, it's basically everyone in the universe can be split into Doom or Justice.
Yes.
Which is what they represent. And anyone who represents Doom, get rid of them. Lock them up.
Yes. And of course they're like, no, we can't do that because we believe in rehabilitation, we believe in all these things. And he's like, well, very well then. Although the one person, because they basically go around the table saying, like, if we went back to that vote we made back in issue 1 about letting the totality hit the Earth, I wouldn't vote any differently. It was still the right thing to do because of who we are. And everyone kind of agrees with that except Batman. Batman's like, no, I don't think I would vote the same way again.
Yeah. I think it's interesting that Batman with his, harsh moral code is going, do you know what? Maybe this is bigger. I like the idea that it's the mortal man without any powers that's the one that's kind of scared by this. Everyone else has got something to them. And they're like, no, we can still fight this. We can still do it. And Batman, usually the one you expect that ultra gritty determination from, no matter what, is the one that's actually quite scared. Because he's the most human in that sense.
This doesn't play for me at all. Either he's playing a long game here to betray him, or to me this feels false, because and it's not so much that I don't like the idea of Batman being scared. I'm not saying that it reads wrong for me to Batman be scared. I just don't think the issue itself does enough to justify him getting to that point. I feel like everything feels too rushed for it to actually land. Like, what you're saying there, it's interesting that Batman's the one who's scared. I'm like, I would agree if I actually got that feeling. I'd agree if actually, had slow build up to him realizing and like hinting that he was scared, or it was like told in the story. Instead, it's just like this one moment. Everything happens so quick that nothing really is given the time to really, I don't know, build. Like it's so popcorn to me. It just moves through everything so quickly. There's barely any time to, I don't know, like have any weight to any of the decisions being made. Which is what I don't like about Snyder's writing these days, is I feel like he's just constantly moving through big things, and there's never any time to actually for them to stop and go, hey, this is huge. Like, we've never dealt with anything like this. But no, everything's just going so quickly that there's no,
That's fair. I don't think I'm in.
It's meaningless, is what I'm saying. It's meaningless that it's all this biggest thing ever, because everything's the biggest thing ever, so none of it has any impact to me anymore.
Yeah, but when it's this enjoyable, I'm okay. I don't know. I'm intrigued as to how the World forges around, because we were told in Metal that he was killed, because the World Forger is in charge of the multiverse and the Dark Multiverse, right? And Barbatos was kind of his pet, right? His pet dragon, essentially, that ate the Dark Multiverses before they got too big and took hold. But Barbatos rebelled, and I think Barbatos is the one that killed the World Forger, if I recall right. So interesting to see that he seems to be here now. I wonder if that gets addressed.
Multiverse, timey-wimey.
Could be. Yeah.
I don't know. The cliffhanger, because basically, seemingly not Batman. I don't see Batman in any of these panels, so I don't think Batman
gets
sent with them. But the Justice League gets sent to a bigger version of Apocalypse in the future, which is basically the prison where all the villains are. We see the Sparrow and Captain Cold and a bunch of others. And the twist is that the person who runs this place takes off the helmet, and it's some older, evil-looking version of Lois Lane.
Yeah, I'm intrigued.
I'm not.
There's a little bit of cynicism for the shock value reveal, but I'm intrigued to see the reasoning.
I don't know, it doesn't mean anything. I'm just like, just whatever.
Yeah.
It's just because, we'll pick someone we know. Maybe he'll give it me in next issue. He might. Like, this might next issue be like, this is why it's Lois, this is why it makes sense, and this is why thematically or dramatically it adds to the story for it to be Lois Lane. But right now it's just, okay, whatever.
No, I'm with you. Yeah. I will say that my two favourite scenes in this book are the ones that we haven't spoken about yet. Not really.
Is this giant Mixapitalik storming through
That's one of them.
Thing?
Yeah.
But but more specifically, he's decreating reality, and it shows that in the page with the art stopping towards the bottom. The coloring's not been done, and the pencil's fading away.
Yeah, it's still being penciled. I'm like, this is it's funny you say decreating, because this is Snyder channeling Morrison all day. But no, I was really into that moment. It was kind of cool. Very meta and aware, but I liked it. And the other scene I really loved is the opening scene between at the time it was what seems to be the two Supermen.
Yeah.
And you have the World Forger being like, look, I've been through all this before 1,000 times. All these dead Supermen are from different times, different universes. I've done all this. I know what you're gonna say. I know what you're gonna try. You can't do it. He's finishing his lines, and he comes to swing a punch at him, and he just stops him with a finger and just grabs his wrist and down to the ground. And I'm like, okay, no, that sold his power. Just there. It's like a simple, couple of panels just at the top of a page with just the finger and then the wrist grab. And I was really into that. I thought that was cool.
Yeah. I mean, it's not that I'm not completely hating it when I'm reading it. Like, it's a reasonably fun read. Some of the character back and forth is fun. Jarrow's great. But it is just kind of like, it's just kind of like fluff to me. It's like superhero fluff. Like, I'm not going to remember half of this shit in a year's time. I'm really not. Fair
enough. I'd like to think I am.
Yeah, so if we're rating it, we're more or less at that point. It's like a 6. It's a fun 6, but
yeah, I'm going with an 8.
If I stop to think about any of this, I'm just annoyed by a lot of things.
Fair enough.
Behind it.
I mean, we've been over this. I don't think there's anything left that I can say to convince you.
No.
Just one of my favorite moments in the art because the art's actually really good throughout. You know, it's really solid, really consistent. One of my favorite moments is when the World Forger, as Superman, swings in on their psychic meeting, and he does the superhero landing on the table, and it has this big boom lettering sound effect. Oh, that was a great little touch.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I saw like a jaded comic nerd where I'm just like, everything is the biggest thing ever, and I'm sick of it. But I think Snyder, just his philosophies with storytelling, especially with these types of characters, just isn't what I like about these characters. It's just he's just clearly into other elements of them.
Yeah,
and I mean that's fine.
Nah, I've been into it. I know Matt's been into it more than you have as well. I mean, do we have Matt's thoughts on these issues?
No, I think he was too busy being dragged to just Disneyland.
Yeah, he said he was going to last week and give his thoughts, but I don't think he did last week either.
No,
unless he did and you just decided not to read.
No, he never sent me anything. He's all promises.
Yeah, he's slacking.
He'll be back next week. You can give him shit on the Twitters.
Yeah.
Before he gets back next week. Yeah. I wish I liked this, but I really do. Like, I think there's things I like in here, but ultimately, I don't know. Just Snyder's philosophy when it comes to storytelling, unless it seems to be horror. Although that said, he's not written anything in horror in a long time for me to really judge it. If he still got it in that.
No, I mean,
respect.
Maybe that new book with Francavilla will be horror.
Yeah, I hope it is, and hopefully it's kind of returned to the form that I would like Snyder to be in. But, yeah. So, there you go. Justice League, which is the only new book that both of us read. This is the problem with Matt missing this week specifically. So I read Young Justice issue 4, which continues. There's another flashback. We get some Amethyst flashbacks, which actually link up to the start of the. Not the start of the story, but the start of where we saw Amethyst for the first time in issue 1. That's actually how the issue ends, kind of, that leads into that moment where she encounters Tim. But this one's, because a lot of the last few issues have been kind of mostly a flashback and mostly focused on that character, maybe just a little snippet at the start or the end of others. This one's a bit different than that, and only the first half is the flashback, and then it kind of like, no, we're going to start bringing the threads together, because the flashback is that Amethyst is basically, I don't want to say hated, but all the officials in Gem World kind of hate her because she's constantly questioning the status quo and what their orders are and like how the system works, and they don't like her very much. She wants to go against Opal, but some of them are like secretly in cahoots with Opal, some of them are not, some of them are this or that. And there's a really sad scene when she hears them kind of like talking about kicking her out the just Gem World and sending her back to Earth. And then it's oh god, I forgot the character's name. The Turquoise, thank you. Turquoise is basically the one person who's like, no, we'll not kick her out because and she says something nice about her, and it's like it gives it this happier side to it at the end where she kind of smiles. Art's very good here, by the way, which I didn't mention. Patrick Gleason and John Timms on the art, with Bendis writing, obviously. But after that scene, we cut back to Superboy with Bart and Superboy's wife and child that we apparently have now, and they're trying to get these guards to go away that were harassing them last time, and Superboy punches his armor off, like literally there's a full page spread of him punching him and all of his armor just shattering around his like body with just underwear and socks on. It's kind of delightful. Yeah, but what was really funny though is that before he does that, Bart's like speeding around, because at one point Superboy says, "Oh, you've stepped on our property," and the guy's like, "Oh, all of this is the Dark Lord Opal's property," and then Bart just starts going, "Is that tree Opal's property?" And then he speeds over somewhere else. "Is that part of land over there Opal's property? Is that part over there somewhere over Opal's property?" And he just keeps asking over and over again, and Connor's just like, "I missed you, Bart." It's just really funny.
Yeah.
It was just delightful. So Bart mentions that he was, because obviously Bart landed separately from the rest of the team, but he mentions that he was with kind of this new version of Young Justice before. Oh, by the way, his baby's called Martha. Just I want to put that out there.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Honestly, I think they missed the beat with it when they said, when they mentioned the baby was called Martha, for Bart to say, "Oh, why did you call her Martha?" just as a way to further hammer home the joke. It's great. But yeah, so Bart's like, okay, so these are people who presumably also got transported here, the rest of the Young Justice. And then we cut back to them, and there's more bickering between themselves and talking about what's going on. And Jenny Hex is worried because she's got this mystical trunk in her truck that she inherited from Jonah Hex. And you know, she's worried that if they open it, something bad will happen, which they do, and lots of creepy things come flying out, and it's more like energy, but there's kind of like a claw-esque kind of feeling to it. But they hear this rumbling, the feet come in, and then there's just like a big panel of like Connor lifting up the cell wall, and you know, it's basically like both Tim and Cassie going Connor, and then the next page is a delightful page of Connor, Tim, Bart, and Cassie all hugging together. The OG Young Justice group. And then the panel underneath that is the 3 new members kind of just looking kind of happy, which is Amethyst, Jenny, and Teen Lantern. Do you wish you loved this book, Connor? Do you wish you could read it?
I intentionally didn't listen to a lot of that. And then I heard Teen Lantern and I went, ugh, yeah, this is why I hate it.
Did you hear me talk about the hug?
I did. I've already seen the page on Twitter earlier in the week. Because, of course, it couldn't not be ruined.
You're not going to be there anyway. What are you complaining about?
Well, just principle. That I didn't even have to go looking to just see that pop up on my Twitter. It was annoying.
So together, the team's together. And it's like, okay, so, you know, why did these people attack us? And Amethyst is like, because we're a threat. And then we get the flashback to, like, you know, just as the weird stuff happening where the world started changing, it was all earthquakey, which is right before Amethyst ran into Tim, and we get the same dialogue from the end of that issue. And there you go, that's the end of the issue. This was delightful. If you've been enjoying Young Justice, this was kind of the issue that brought the first 4 together, because 2 and 3 were very kind of standalone-ish on their own. This felt like everyone came together, and it was kind of, because I wasn't expecting it this issue. I really wasn't. I thought it was going to be Amethyst focused and just be that the whole issue, and that was fine. Like, I needed to learn more about her. Like, I never knew she was originally from Earth. Like, that was news to me. So I'm like, okay, I'm learning things about Amethyst. I like that. And then no, it gave me all this great stuff at the end where they're back together. The art's fantastic. You know, Gleason kills it. Tim's is also very good. Like, it's very expressive. It's got that fun youthfulness to it. You know, so it's one of the things that I always talk about. Super Sons actually is when they have the more youthful art, but the way the way it's more expressive, like the way kids overreact to things. Not that they're overreacting here, but it has just kind of that energy to it. And I really like that. Plus having the characters all be delighted to see each other again. They all remember each other. There's still questions to answer, but you know, we're getting there, and this is cool stuff. So I assume next issue it'll be them on the run from Opal's forces / maybe racing towards Opal to try and deal with it. And of course I imagine that Amethyst will end up coming back with the team to Earth because she'll either be not welcome or because other reasons, I would expect. I love how cars just ignore me as much as possible.
I'm intentionally not listening, because if I start listening, I'll likely get irritated and start making comments, and I just don't want to go down that.
Okay. Yeah, and it was interesting hearing kind of some of the politics of Gem World and how these things. I mean, don't get me wrong. I couldn't name you all the houses or anything like that because there's too many of them. Right now, it's just Opal bad. Everyone else might be bad or good, but Opal's got a stranglehold. But no, it's very good. But I mean, I've been digging this series a lot. This was the one. I mean, this was easily the book I was looking forward to most. And not to spoil the end of the show when we rank things, but I mean, it's coming in at number 1, baby. So, Young Justice is very good. I would give this issue a solid 8.5. It was very good. I have to imagine Matt loved it. I have to imagine.
I mean, you'd think, wouldn't you?
Yes. So, no, it was a heartwarming reunion, and I think if you're a fan of these characters, you were probably delighted with some of the scenes in here. And as per usual, if you like Bendis speak, the banter is very good.
Cool.
All right. which means Connor's going to talk about the Green Lantern issue 6. Grant Morrison writing, Liam Sharp on the art. Take it away, I guess.
Yeah. So we left last issue with Hal joining the Black Stars and being given like one final task, and it was to kill Adam Strange, to prove his loyalty. And that's we pick up right there where we're on Ran and they're there, and Hal's like, no, I'm not going to do this. I won't kill an unarmed opponent. Let's make it fair. It essentially becomes a duel. Which, I'll get to that in a minute. There's a couple of little pages before that where we have the controller Mu, who is in charge of the Black Stars. He's the leader. He's obviously his controller. So he's from Malta, same as the Guardians. And he is kind of threatening them in a very... It's that kind of blackmail-y. It's like, hey, well, we're just here for your protection. Just give over. If we weren't here, what about those Sun Eaters, hey? And Alana's like, hey, we know those Sun Eaters are dead, and it takes like 600 years to get for them to grow up again. So we're fine. We can worry about ourselves. Just some interesting politicking going on there. But we actually get the duel between Hal and Adam, and it's a proper Western style duel. They stand together back to back, walk 10 paces, turn and shoot. And the pacing is absolutely wonderfully rendered by Sharp. Split into all these different panels as it turns, the facial reactions as to what exactly happened. Because obviously you see them both shoot, and you're just waiting for a minute to see the reaction, and then you see Strange drop his gun and go down. He's been hit right in the chest, and he's dead. He's seemingly dead, and they're like, right, congratulations, Hal. You're more. Well, they're not calling him Hal, of course. They're calling him Black Star Parallax. But congratulations, you did it. And Alana's there, mourning over her husband. It's like, no, what are you doing? You're our Green Lantern, because it's in his sector. You're supposed to be protecting us. What are you doing? And she's distraught. But they go to take him away because on Ran nothing's wasted. They immediately like, let's go and look for his organs. Everyone's a donor, because they're very efficient like that. But Hal goes off with the vampire queen, whose name I'm blanking on, admittedly. And they have a bit of a chat about the ideology of the Black Stars. Where does it come from? The name. What was wrong with Dark Star? It's like, no, Black's absolute. Dark. It leaves room for interpretation as to how dark, essentially. But with Black, it's like, no, you know exactly what you're getting, and that's the vision of Controller Mu is like that. There's no getting around. And we go back and we get to the scientists. They get called in. There's something wrong with the powering, because they took his ring to try and study and use as their weapon, but it's not responding to them. And it's like it's booby trapped, is what they say. And Hal's like, well, yeah, the Guardians did this in case it gets captured. When they kicked me out, they probably deactivated it, put in these safeguards. There's nothing I can do. And alongside this, we actually see he faked Adam's death. He put him into a coma. Which obviously they discover as they're going to go cut him open for his organs. They're like, hang on a second. On a closer inspection, he's still alive, so he's all right. Which is good, because obviously, you'd want that. But they're questioning about the ring, and it's like, no, this isn't right. Adam comes in and starts shooting, and then they realize, okay, no, you've been playing us. We suspected you might, but it's a shame, because we actually thought you'd have made a real good Black Star. And that's where they go, right, fine, we're setting off a bomb, a U-bomb, and the idea is it will end the universe. It'll take all the matter in the universe and compress it into a quark, like pre-Big Bang, essentially, and it'll be pretty much instant. It'll be total annihilation, and then this is where you get the Guardians coming across the ring. It's like, all right, Jordan, disarm the bomb, you gotta do this. Time's over. Forget any infiltration stuff you had planned. Just end this now. And then it ends. He's gone. You just get this green light, and it cuts away. And it's Adam Strange giving a speech, and it's basically giving Hal like a hero's funeral. Essentially, there's no body, but they're like, they assumed he must have died because all the Green Lantern rings went dim as he used that much power. He dragged it from the core lantern, core battery, and then after he did that, the U-bomb was gone, but so was Hal, and the thing's gone. As he's giving his speech, he starts fading. The Zeta beams are taking him back to Earth, and then we finally cut just to a little epilogue where we're in space, and the ring is just floating in space on its own. And then it seems to be it's either a reflection or it's an image inside the ring. I think it's a reflection, but it's if it turns out this is happening inside the ring, I'll let that go as well, because it's there for interpretation in this panel. And it's Hal, and he's on this kind of this planet. It's very green. All the coloring's tinted green, and he's there going. I remember moving through this dust storm. This, green dust. I'm sure there's a job I've got to do, but I don't really remember. He goes, "Oh, you're the first person I've seen on the road since I got out of the desert. I was hoping that you could give me some directions." And the guy is very cryptic. This little squat fella. He's sitting on a signpost. He's like, "Oh, you know what you're searching on. Cast on the shore. It's all this kind of almost prophecy-esque mumbo jumbo." And he tells him, there's one exit. It lies that way. They call it the Emerald Sands. You gotta when they ask you who sent you, tell them Merwidon, who is a very classic Green Lantern villain going way back. Originally, it was a bit of a sorcerer. Looks very different here, so I'm not sure if they're changing things up a bit, or if it's just a reinterpretation. And there's no hint of any magic here, anyway. But I'm intrigued. The idea next is Emerald Sands. It kind of sounds like he's going on a bit of a Vision Quest style thing. I'm really into it. Art's gorgeous again. As expected. The pacing in particular is fantastic, especially with the duel, and then this at the end where we have the just empty space, and then you see a green flicker, and then the ring, and then the coloring as well is really strong. I'm really enjoying it. It's another 8 from me. Yeah.
Okay. Well, that'll take me on to Adventures of the Super Sons issue 9. Again, this is one that me and Matt usually both talk about, but he's not here, so it's me. Peter Tomasi writing with Scott Godlewski on the art, which is a change because there's been Barbary for the last several issues. I don't know if this is just a one-issue thing or if we've switched now for the last little batch of 4, maybe, because obviously it's a 12-issue series. But this issue, the kids land on a planet. Which, because they've escaped the prison planet, they're with the Green Lantern trainee, and they land on a planet where there's a robotic Jonah Hex. There's some Westworld jokes to be made here, I'm sure, but
yep.
They end up kind of helping him because there's some bandits try to hold him up, and just by landing on them basically when they land on the planet. He's like, "Okay, I'm indebted to you, so I'll try and help you. So there's one way off this rock, and it's this train, and it's guarded with all these other robots. I will help you get on there." And the issue is mostly like, as they're on their journey, there's a lot of jokes about them, enjoying being out in the Old West, and John like saying things in a cowboy way, and Damien's like, "Stop dropping your G's, you're from Metropolis, quit that right now." But the main sort of idea of the issue, outside of just the general kind of the we have to get in and sneak past the robots and like take over the train, kind of Back to the Future 3 style, is that they keep saying to Jonah, "Do you want to come with us? Because you were made as a robot to serve under the ruler on this planet, and you didn't like killing anymore, so you made a deal with him to basically be left alone as long as he stayed on the planet." and he's not allowed to leave because it's just not in his programming. So they keep saying to him, the Green Lantern trainees, like, hey, I like the reason why I'm like a candidate is because I'm good with machines and computers. Like, I can probably help you with that. I can tinker, and he keeps refusing them. He's like, no, this is my nature. Like, I'm not like you kids. Because even Damien says, I was trained to be a killer by my mother, and it wasn't until I met other people and my father and so on that I learned I had free will. And John is like, no, that's your kid, but it's just not me. And eventually, like just before they get on the train towards the end of the issue, the Green Lantern trainee actually just knocks him out. He hits him over the back of the head just so he can reprogram him. And when he wakes up, he's like willing to come on the train. And it's not like a dark thing. It's not like, oh, he's programmed him to want to leave. He's just taken away the he has to follow this rule programming. So now he has some form of free will. And he's thankful for it. He's like, I never really understood this idea that I could just leave, because it wasn't there. So there's kind of a nice. It's kind of a weird kind of like one-shot tangent. Although they're still on the train at the end. They're just leaving in the train, and it says next time the Justice Gateway or something like that. Injustice Gateways. Showdown at the Injustice Gateway. So I'm liking them playing with the genre here a little bit. By the end of the issue, John's got a cowboy hat on like the whole time. And then other than that, the villains are like, Rex Luthor and his team are like, all right, we've got tons of these like copies of the super villains now. We're heading towards Earth. I'm ignoring my obsession with those super sons is getting put in the back burner. We're going to go take over Earth. And interestingly, at one point, Damien and John, when they're talking about it, they're like, when we get back to Earth, we should tell our dads and get the Justice League on this because they're actually coming to attack the planet. And Damien's like, nah, this is our problem. We should take care of it. You're right, Damien. We'll clean up our own mess. And I'm like, if you fail and they do actually destroy Earth, your parents are going to be pissed. I just want to put that out there.
Yeah, pretty fairly as well.
Just going to put that out there. But no, it's very good. I will say, like, the art is not bad. Godlewski's art is perfectly fine, and in places actually quite enjoyable. It does feel like the biggest shift away from the style though, because there was one like fill-in artist earlier in the run, and it did kind of lend more to stick with the style. I don't think that was Godlewski as well, but if it was, he did a better job of like sticking to what the tone of the book was. And even Barbary, it felt like he was sticking to what had been established by Jimenez and some other artists in the previous book.
From what I know of Godlewski, if I remember right, typically quite heavy, scratchy.
Oh, I wouldn't say that's a scratchy at all. No.
No. Okay. In my past experience, Godlewski is not particularly clean.
Maybe in an effort to fit the style, it is actually a very clean style. If anything, actually, it sometimes looks like Marvel art. That shiny kind of thing.
Okay. Yeah.
You get in the coloring.
Yeah.
I'd say it has parts of that, but no. I mean, I'm looking for it. No, it's very clean. Very cartoony, which is right for the book, but it's a slightly different kind of cartoony for what the books had before. Rex Luthor's chin feels a bit pointier than it should be as well, just compared to normal, which is a minor complaint, but it's just one of those things that I was reading that I was like, this feels the most different the art's been on the Super Sons in general.
Yeah.
Maybe since the start of Super Sons issue 1, back at the start of the first book.
The first book, yeah.
So this one felt a bit different in that sense, but at least from memory. I mean, someone might point out a one shot where it had intentionally, like maybe that one where John was going through the house in the forest. Maybe that was very different. I think that was a Super Sons issue. That may have been Superman actually. Remember there was an issue where John was like in the creepy house and like he wasn't sure where he was, and it was
that was Super Sons, wasn't it? Because it ended with it being the robot kid, right?
I think so. I think that was Super Sons. But anyway. So that one might have had really different art, but that was doing like a very stylistic thing because it was meant to be like all kind of nightmarish and wacky.
Yeah.
But the book's solid. It's like a solid 7 out of 10, like consistently. It's just a fun read. Which unfortunately is less interesting to talk about when you have like 4 books total, and you're hoping for some more meat to really give the show some gravitas.
We don't really expect meat from this book, though, do we?
No, we don't, and that's fine. It is what it is. It knows what it is. It's silly. It's fun. The characters are likable.
I wasn't saying that as a criticism. I'm not holding that against it. Just in terms of even when there's you and Matt here, it rarely goes 5 minutes.
Yeah, it is what it is. So Adventures of the Super Sons is a fun book if you like it. Admittedly, it's the sort of thing you can wait for probably the hardcover with all 12 issues and just binge it. It'll probably be more enjoyable that way. But it works. It works perfectly well, and the characters are very likable. So there you go.
So what are you giving it?
7. I said.
Oh yeah, okay.
So it was a Swimming in Sevens book, and I mean that in a nice way, in the nicest possible way. Well, that does unfortunately take us on to Nightwing issue 54. And why are we reading this? Why are we talking about it now? You're like, that's like 4 issues behind. What are we doing? So on our Patreon, at patreon.com/MailFuzzTV, we have a couple of tiers where someone can make me or Connor, or in this case both, read a comic book once per month. And Tyler, the cruel bastard that he is making us both read Nightwing, the Rick Grayson saga. He made us pick up
the Rick Grayson travesty.
Yes, because we read 50 and 51 just out of dedication to the podcast. And so we picked up from 52 a couple months ago, so now we're reading issue 54. It's Lobdell along with Fabian Nicieza on writing, with Gary Brown and Will Conrad on the art. So
Should I get the positives out of the way first? Because there is one positive.
What is it?
It's got a fantastic variant cover.
It does have a nice variant cover, that's true. It's a really nice pretty. And notably,
Yasmin Putri,
notably, the variant covers for this since Rick Grayson happened have all been kind of just ignoring that it's Rick Grayson. They've just been doing classic Nightwing covers.
Yep. Yeah.
So that's worth mentioning. I will say I didn't necessarily hate the Scarecrow stuff in the sense of from Scarecrow's side of it, if that makes sense.
I didn't until the very last page, and then I hated it.
Yeah, well, I got confused by what they're doing with him now at the last page. But the idea of him being a therapist to Rick Grayson, and like him just whatever he's doing and what he's up to, that he's running a hospital. At one point, Rick's like, "What happened here?" And he's like, there was some sort of violent outbreak last week," and that was the end of last issue where he made all the people go crazy with the Scarecrow gas. I was like, okay, I kind of like this idea to do this with Scarecrow, to actually make him under a pseudonym, be a therapist and actually cause chaos with people. That idea I thought was okay, but of course every time Rick started talking about how much he wanted to not be Dick Grayson, I was just like, oh.
I know,
I hate you so much, I hate you. And at the end he's
constantly like, let Nightwing be Nightwing, I don't want to do it.
And Scarecrow gives him a cupcake when he's released at the end. He's like, that was your final mandatory therapy session. Off you go.
Yes. Happy birthday, Rick.
Him and he's is it May, his love interest that he's got right now. He went to help her at like a charity drive at one point for the homeless, and then she shows up at the end and she's like, all kisses, celebrate, sort of thing. He's all happy. He's got a new missus. He's delighted. He's not fighting crime. He hates all that stuff. That's all done. So everything I love about this series in a nutshell. There you go. The idea of Scarecrow at one point, he starts talking about Robin. He's like, I once knew this boy, and he starts talking about Dick Grayson as Robin, not realizing that he's talking to the very person. And I'm like, okay, I don't hate this. I don't hate the idea that Robin was fearless has got under his skin. Like, that's something that stuck with him.
Yeah, I like that in concept.
Yeah.
I think it's turned into this weird obsession now that I don't really get.
I'm okay with the obsession because he's a Scarecrow, he's a psycho. I tell you what was bugging me in this though. I feel like this whole idea that he's like, I don't want to be Dick Grayson. I feel like we're getting very repetitious with his like thoughts on that. There's some pages early on where he's in like rehab, before he got out of the hospital, and like Barbara's there and Bruce is there. And it's the same thing again. They wanted Dick Grayson, but I wasn't Dick Grayson, so they made me feel guilty for not being him. And
that's been every issue, hasn't it?
It's been every issue. We've heard it every single time. Which, by the way, the art was maybe at its worst when it was Barbara's face. Like both there and then later on in the issue, there's a couple of Barbara face panels.
I mean, Barbara's face was pretty bad, but so are Dick's shoulders. In that, that walking therapy.
Oh, that's fair. That's fair. Faces bother me more than anatomy does typically. But
I get why, because obviously they're that's the emotion, right?
Yeah, it's the most important part. Yeah,
no, it is, but when it's so bad and it just distracts me.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. And then otherwise, like we just keep kind of returning to the cops who are now the Nightwings. Well, one's a cop, one's like a firefighter, and one's like whatever.
And they're like, hey, call him Nightwing constantly.
Yeah, don't call him Sal or whatever his name is. Like call him Nightwing because we're out in the field. And he's like, you guys need code names as well. And so I'm sure we're going to have fun code names in the next issue for all these cop Nightwings. But the important thing is that they're kind of trying to take down people. They're kind of succeeding. Eventually, the main one's like caught in the news. Like there's like security, not security. There's like a news chopper, and there's like
like they're chasing someone on the roof.
Yeah, Channel 52. Nightwing's back in Bloodhaven, kind of thing. So it's a public thing now. People now expect Nightwing to show up.
Yeah.
But one of them kind of freaks out and kind of freezes, and it causes a car crash. So
and they're like, let's just not tell the main guy.
Yeah. So we're setting up that maybe there's going to be some problems with some of these characters not
being fit for the task. Who'd have thought?
Not being good enough, essentially. Yeah. Yeah. The final reveal's kind of weird though, because the final page is like Scarecrow being like, "Oh, I'm going to cure this city of its fear," and I'm like, "Wait a minute, wait, what?"
Why does he have a Funko Pop of Nightwing?
He does.
He actually does. He's holding a Funko. I don't get it. Like, I buy that they exist, but why?
Because he's obsessed with. I mean, I guess it's common knowledge that the original Robin became Nightwing.
I think it is, yeah.
So he's just been obsessed that he's like, I'm going to go after that Nightwing. So this cop who's become Nightwing, he doesn't know what's in store for him because he's coming for him.
Doesn't. But it was such a weird thing to see this Nightwing Funko Pop being held by Scarecrow.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, those shoulders are bad. It's not as bad as Bab's face, but they're bad.
They are bad, aren't they?
I'll give it to you. Yeah, I wasn't feeling the art in this. Not really one bit.
And I've got a horrible feeling Will Conrad is who's doing that issue of Hawkman after Hitch.
Oh dear.
I feel like that was the name. Which actually there was an update on that. You know how me and Matt were speculating how it was built in because it was this break issue and we thought, Hitch will be back.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently not. Judging by what Vendetta was saying on Twitter, it seems like Hitch is done with the book after 12.
Okay.
So, yeah. It's
a
shame.
Yeah. That was basically it.
Yeah, it's just not very good, is it?
That said, like in that last scene of the reveal with the Funko Pop and Scarecrow, voicing his intent, he's made 2 dinners. He's made 2 plates of dinner. And he puts one out on the table, and then he's holding the other one as if he's still talking to someone else. And I thought we were going to get a reveal of who he was talking to.
Yeah, me too.
And we never did. It's just ends him as going, I'm going to cure this thing of the city of its fear, and he's holding this Nightwing figure.
Yeah.
And that was it. But
I've no idea who he is talking to.
maybe we'll find out.
I wouldn't even know where to begin speculating.
Maybe we'll find out next time. Maybe we'll find out it'll be, I don't know.
Do we have to?
Condiment King.
I'd be down for that.
Jonathan Crane is in cahoots with the Condiment King next time in Nightwing, starring Rick Grayson.
I mean, the ridiculous factor would at least have some appeal to it.
Do you know what this is like? This whole Rick Grayson thing. It's just like, in the hit television show Buffy the Vampire Slayer, we had Angel as the main love interest for the first 3 seasons. It's almost like instead of just replacing him with Riley, Angel got amnesia and thought he was Riley. So now he's Riley.
This is the most contrived Buffy reference you've done yet.
But it might be the best.
It might be. You at least put thought into this one.
Okay, what are you rating it?
4? Oh.
Yeah, 4 seems fair. 4 out of 10 seems fair. It's bad, guys. What a shock. For some reason, I left questions till this time. I don't know why I did it till after the books.
Because you forgot, didn't you?
I guess so. We got a couple. So for Matt talking Superman, because he always gives us a question.
Of course he does. Friend of the show.
If you could put a hero in a different time and place, a la Gotham by Gaslight, Red Sun, who, where, when? Interesting question. I was thinking about this. I like the idea of Swamp Thing in like the moors of England at like the turn of the century. You know, not this century, the last one. You know.
Do you know what I can see that story as?
Horse and carriage kind of time.
I can see that as a Sherlock Holmes story.
Oh yeah. I can just picture like the horror scenes have been out in the moors and then like Swamp Things rising in the fog, kind of thing.
Yeah. Oh, that'd be cool.
I'm getting that kind of thing, which I guess is kind of similar to Victorian London. It's kind of similar to Gaslight, but that's just the first thing that popped out of my head as I was thinking about this.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. It's a tough question. You've had prep time. I haven't. This is unfair.
I thought I won. I thought I won in advance.
Yeah, but like you said, you've thought about it. You've just thrown it at me.
These aren't private. You can see these tweets.
I could, but you know I don't.
Yeah, it's on you.
You could have gone, hey, you might want to check these out. You might want to think about it. Go and take a look. But no, you didn't.
You knew it was coming. You knew it was coming. You can't say shit.
Whatever.
Yeah. Also, my new mic in Pop Shield, you can actually see my face through the Pop Shield now, which I think is quite good for the video. You can kind of still see my expressions.
Yeah, don't know why we'd want to, but yeah.
The people do.
Yeah, okay. No, I mean, I think Superman back in like Greek times, you know, see how he's revered as a demigod. So essentially, that would be an interesting thing.
Okay, all right, I can kind of see it. I might have said Batman in feudal Japan, except they kind of did that in a movie, so it's less interesting now because something's kind of been done about it. But
yeah, no, I get that.
You know, as what it is. Do you know the problem is I feel like there's almost none you can say for like the Wild West, because like Wild West means shooting, and okay, you could alter the character somewhat, and maybe that's part of the charm, but like I don't know who you put in the Wild West.
Is there an appeal to doing Batman in the Wild West? Him being the only one who won't shoot?
Maybe.
I don't know.
Maybe
could work.
Here's a quirky one. This is a bit more out there, but I kind of like the idea of Barbara Gordon in a cyberpunk story.
Oh, do you know, I hadn't thought about going futuristic.
Well, it's harder because you're just making up things, but I feel like just a cyberpunk setting for like her hacking along with her vigilante skills, kind of like, you know, really
that'd be cool,
marrying together.
No, I can see that.
I can get behind that.
Yeah, me too. I could definitely get behind that. That'd be kind of cool.
Oh, what about the Daily Planet during like Watergate? The lowest, like,
yeah,
doing 70s, you know, some hard 70s reporting.
Yeah, definitely something in that one. Like, that could be real interesting. Do a proper journalist story.
There you go. I could see that bit of thing.
Yeah. It's a tough question because I feel like a lot of these it's just
Oh, Martian Manhunter at the height of like pulp 50 sci-fi, because that was the time of like Martians, right? So you
you
do Martian Manhunter coming down during the 50s.
I think I'd rather do Martian Manhunter in a proper hard-boiled noir.
Oh, if you're on the
detective side.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, black and white detective kind of. With a hat on.
With the hat, obviously, the hat's essential.
Yeah. But he still has shapeshifting abilities, which.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like there's something interesting in that.
Yeah, you could do that.
Yeah. I'd be down for reading that for sure.
Yeah. So another question we got from Carthanis. Started reading Superman Volume 1 after being very resistant to Bendis Superman, but hearing how much you two of you guys enjoy it, I have been really enjoying it so far. Is there any characters or runs that you didn't want to read at first but went back later and enjoyed it?
Is this exclusive to DC?
No, I don't think so. I think you could.
Because
if you have a good answer for this elsewhere,
I do, and this isn't necessarily what I went back and read it, much after the fact.
Mm-hmm.
but it's going on right now. It's Venom, by Donny. Because I was like, I've got no interest in Venom. Who gives a shit? It's Venom. And then people were raving about the first issue. I was like, all right, fine, I'll try the first issue. Then I kind of thought, okay, this is fantastic. And now it's 12 odd issues in, and it's one of my favorite Marvel books right now.
I don't know if I've got an answer for this. I'm trying to think if it was anything that I was like, no, I don't want to read this, and then read it and was like, you know what, I've made mistakes.
I think the closest I can come for you in terms of thinking about it is when we did the first Sandman volume for a monthly, where you weren't really looking forward to it, and then by the end you were like, do you know what, that was not bad.
Yeah, I wasn't over the moon with it though. Like,
no, you weren't like, oh, I really should have been reading this the whole time.
Because it got better as it went, but yeah, it wasn't. Yeah. It wasn't quite this where it was like, no, I've been a fool, damn it.
Yeah, it wasn't quite that severe, but you definitely came around on it a bit more than you thought.
Yeah, because I feel like other things, like I feel like most things I've put off reading and then eventually tried because it has like some prestige to it. I end up being like, yeah, I was right. my
it wasn't for you. Was right.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know if I've got a good answer for this. But maybe I will one day. Maybe there'll be something where I'll be, nah, I don't like this writer. Maybe Hickman will finally do something I actually really like, but I won't find out until later because enough people will pester me into reading it. Maybe one day something Scott Lobdell will do something that Connor likes because people keep making him read it anyway.
Joe, no, I'll tell you what for you is probably the best example. Freedom Fighters. Because going into that, you're like, oh, Venditti.
Oh, sure, yeah. Well, I mean, the question is more about going back after the fact, but yeah.
No, it is, but I'm thinking in terms of just in terms of expectation, what you not really thinking, oh, I'm not gonna like this, I don't care, and then coming out and going, do you know what, that was really good.
Yeah, that's true.
That's I think what I'm taking away from the question is more the surprise factor of changing your opinion rather than going back after the fact.
Okay. That's not a bad answer for me.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll do the final part of the show then, which is where we pick our favourites of the week, favourite panel / moment, favourite cover, favourite art, and rank
top
the books
2/3.
Rank the books we read. It's been a weird week. So
it has.
What's your panel / moment?
I'm gonna go from Justice League. I'm gonna go that 4-panel sequence at the start with the finger on the hand, the wrist, and then the slam down.
Okay. I'm going with a hug from Young Justice. It's easy pickings, but that's what it is.
Sure.
It's easy. And then favourite cover of the week.
Let me go look at previews because not getting any variant covers anymore, damn it, DC.
Oh, that was handy when you did that.
I really enjoyed having those there.
And that was consistent for a long ass time as well. It wasn't like it was just recently.
Yeah. I'm actually just going to go with the regular Green Lantern cover. I like it. It's got a great vibe to it.
Sure. I'm probably going with that variant for Young Justice.
The Dan Morrow one. Yeah, it's not bad.
It's really nice. So
I think it just the only thing I don't like about that is it really bothers me that, like, with Connor at the top, it's shaped where it cuts off. The two girls go down to, like, thighs. They got a bit going on, and Tim just cuts off dead at the waist, and like it feels really unnatural.
Yeah, you could have drew just the pelvis
just a little bit more. Yeah,
just to give it. Yeah, that's fair. But yeah, I'll go with that. Best art of the week. I'm going for Young Justice again. I assume you're going for Green Lantern.
I am, yeah.
There you go, easy pickings. And then ranking the books, what have you got?
I guess Justice League and then Green Lantern.
Yeah, I'm going with Young Justice at number 1, Super Sons at 2, and Justice League at 3. There we go. What a quick section that was. What a weird week. DC, put some stuff out in week 1.
Yeah, what's going on? This is unacceptable.
I know, it's bizarre.
We can't have a show out of this every week.
And I know, obviously, we dropped Deathstroke, and there's another couple of things that are on that we don't read, but like, it's still, if you look at there's still stuff in like week 2 we don't read as well. But we still have like
in total this week, how many were published? Yeah, we had Super Sons, Deathstroke, Female Furies, Green Lantern, Harley Quinn, Justice League, Suicide Squad, Black Files, and Young Justice. So there's still only like 8 total books, whereas usually we're reading 8 to 10, plus there's more we're not covering.
But hey, there you go. So I'll tell you what's coming next week. You can tell if there's been any changes, Connor.
It'll be a lot because it's a big week too.
Yeah, so we have Detective Comics 1001, we have Superman issue 10, Batman 68, which was supposed to be this week, Wonder Woman 68, The Flash 68, Supergirl 29, Catwoman 10?
Yep.
Hawkman 11. The reason why I still doing that, because Catwoman's one that's been pushed a week, a couple
here
of times.
Here or there, yeah.
We get the final issue of Titans with 36 of that, Batman Who Laughs number 4, Wonder Twins number 3, and then also out, although we're not covering, is Electric Warriors number 6, Red Hood Outlaw 33, and Justice League Odyssey issue 8.
Electric Warriors isn't it?
Okay, well, we aren't going to talk about it anyway, so it's okay.
No, but I mean, just in case someone was looking forward to it, and you got their hopes up.
Yeah. Well, there we go. That's what's coming next week, and this wraps up your weekly DC Comics podcast.
Less of a shambles than last week.
Less than a shambles, yeah. Just light on content because DC didn't give us anything, the bastards. Yeah. But Matt is next week, so look forward to that.
Next week is going to be a slog of books.
Yes. Hopefully I sounded quite sexy at least because I got a new mic this week. That sounds better.
He's been going on about it.
It's nice. I like it. It's nice to have new things. So let us know what you thought of the books from this week. If you want to support us, you can go to patreon.com/MailFuzzTV and you can support us for as little as $1 per month. You get some stuff early, you get some bonuses, exclusives. If we're promoting other things that we do, of course it makes sense to mention 2 other Multiverse podcasts. One is called Elsewhere in the Multiverse, which starting this week goes up in 2 parts on YouTube. The first part goes up a little bit earlier, before this one goes up even. And then the second part goes up sort of Tuesday, Wednesday time, right before the new books. And the audio version was just 1 full episode on the Tuesday, Wednesday. So you can look out for that. That's like me and Connor talking about Marvel books or Image books, IDW, all that kind of thing. Just everything else we like to read that's not DC. And then we have television from the Multiverse, which is me and Connor talking about DC TV shows. Doom Patrol, Supergirl, Flash.
Legends of Tomorrow is back.
All those shows, so check out that if you're interested. Obviously, all of our content is on the YouTube channel, MailFuzz TV, but there are also audio podcast feeds for pretty much everything. If you go to the Patreon, there's a nice list of everything, all the different podcast feeds we have, and all the different the way we split all of our content up on there. Obviously, the YouTube's a good place to sort of sample everything, though. So thank you very much for watching or listening. Also, actually, I should mention the Shazam monthly, because obviously one of the perks on Patreon at the $5 tier is the monthly episode. I did say last week we'd have it up before the movie came out. That did not happen. We've both read it. We've both read Jeff Johns' Gary Frank Shazam. We both read it this week. We've just not had a chance to squeeze in the recording itself. It's coming very soon. So Look forward to it. So thank you very much once again for watching or listening. We always appreciate it. Keep reading DC Comics, but always remember to never get lost in the Speed Force.